All right, welcome back everybody to Sports and Money. I'm Ben Parker. Thank you so much for being with us today. The nightmares continue for the Miami Marlins during this entire offseason, pretty much ever since Derek Jeter and his ownership group took over the team in the mid-fall at the end of the season. It's just been one nightmare, one public relations disaster after another. They've let go of several of their best players. They seem to have not gotten a lot in return. People were upset that the Marlins were sold to begin with. They've had disputes about letting go some of the staff, which included some former Marlins greats, kind of been encouraged to leave. They've had disputes with the artist about whether or not to let go or to move the big artist rendition, the huge statue that stands out beyond the outfield wall. They've had disputes with letting go the guy who was the mascot, although they keep the mascot, they let the guy go who was representing the mascot. One PR disaster after another for Derek Jeter and his ownership group. Now, long term, maybe Derek Jeter gets this thing figured out. Maybe he brings a winner to the Marlins. Will the people ever love him for it? I don't know. Will he ever be able to make money there with the Marlins? That I also don't know. But today in court, Miami-Dade County, Judge Beatrice Butchko, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, ruled that Jeffrey Loria will have to produce at least some more documentation as to why he is claiming no profit on a $1.2 billion sale. He bought the team for $158 million back in 2002. $1.2 billion to $158 million, it looks like to the eyes, to the optics, there's a $1 billion profit there. Now we know it's not that much because of debt, because of taxes, because of deductions. But owner Jeffrey Loria is claiming that he actually made no profit off of this. Now, to be clear, like I said, there's a lot of complications to this, and I don't want to make it worse than it is. To be clear, owner Jeffrey Loria is not necessarily claiming that he did not make any money off of this sale. What he is claiming is that the number of deductions that he has allowed equaled in the final result of the deal to there not being any profit margins on the line items. Therefore, he does not owe any money to Miami-Dade. Now, why would he owe any money to them in the first place? Well, when they built the new stadium back in 2009, I believe it was, when they agreed to build the new stadium, there was a clause in the contract that if Jeffrey Loria sold the team before spring of 2018, which he did, it would kick in a 5% proceeds to go to Miami-Dade County and to the residents and to the city of Miami. They would get 5% of the proceeds of the profits of that sale. So if Jeffrey Loria is claiming no profit from that sale, he is avoiding that 5% of the profits of that sale. So that's really at the heart of this. Even though we see a major transaction of money here, Loria, through a number of deductions, and a number of deductions we know he has a right to. What the judge is going to have to determine over the next few months and probably even years is, was he actually due all of the deductions that he is claiming that he was able to get, therefore leaving no profit margin for him, and therefore leaving no 5% interest off that margin for the residents of Miami-Dade County. Now, we know he's due a lot of those deductions. Was he actually due all the deductions that he took on that sale? Also involved in this, bouncing around there, just laying there waiting for someone to claim it, is an escrow account of some $50 million. And that could potentially be claimed by Miami-Dade, by the city of Miami, by Jeffrey Loria and his group, or even by Derek Jeter and his ownership group. So that money is just sitting there. And that is going to be, I think, maybe even as big as, if not bigger than, the 5%. This $50 million just sitting there could be fought over more bitterly, depending on how those profit margins are determined off of this sale. So, a lot of layers there. Today, Beatrice Butchko, the judge, told us very plainly that Jeffrey Loria would have to produce more documents. She did not necessarily give folks the right, Miami-Dade County, the right to see all of the documents involving the Miami Marlins and the sale. I think certainly for me and a lot of other people who have interest in the money side of sports, we would love to get access to all of that. I don't know that we're going to get access to all of that, but the judge did say that he would have to produce more documentation than what he already has shown so far in order to prove that he really did legitimately have all the deductions and therefore no profit margin. Jeter's ownership group, meanwhile, has basically stood off to the side and said, this has nothing to do with us. One of the lawyers for Jeter's ownership group was in court today and basically would not sit at the defense table, refusing to be part of the defense team, but instead was in the back of the courtroom, was acknowledged by the judge, and basically his words were, to totally paraphrase, we are not a part of this, we are simply observing and bystanding on this. So it is possible that the Jeter ownership group could also get pulled into this by some means, depending on where the lawyers go and where they want to chase the money at. There's a ton of layers to this, a ton of deductions that we could go through. The Miami Herald has been beating the drum on this for months and months now. Dan Levitard, whom a lot of you know from sports radio, has been beating the drum on this for quite a while as well. So go listen to both of them if you want more details on it. But for now, we know that this massive sale that would seem to have produced at least some layers of profit is basically being claimed through deductions that there is no profit. Therefore, Miami-Dade County is not getting the 5% and is also, according to Laurier's team, not going to get that $50 million in escrow that is sitting there as well. This will take months to unravel, if not years to unravel. We'll follow it as we get more on it. Thank you so much for joining us today on Sports and Money. I'm Ben Parker.